One, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three. Sibilance, sibilance, sibilance. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sibilance. See if we officially live. I believe we are live. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, guys, welcome to the BVS official full circle watch event. This is the post segment, which will be the Q&A. I think they're gonna have some special guests. I believe Gal Gadot is in the building, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see and hopefully hear from her if they got some questions for her, or if she just has some some insight. Just to hear her speak is gonna be godly anyway, so yeah, that's gonna be dope. Definitely looking forward to that. I don't know if they've started yet. Hold up, I'm just fixing the stream behind the scenes, making sure everything is Gucci. Let me see over here. Intermission. Boom. Live stream. I mean a live screen is straight. Alright. Yeah, it's hard for the back and forth, just making sure the audio is connected, synced up properly. CPU is kind of eating up a lot. Let me lower this real quick. Take that off, and we should be good. I'm gonna do a quick refresh. Let me see if there's anybody here. Thank you to all who supported so passionately. Nice. All right. So nothing yet. We're gonna leave it on full screen. We're gonna close that out. We're gonna close this out. So we can have a lot more memory going, making the stream a lot more smoother. Boom. Yeah, I also want to thank Ricardo for subscribing. I think you subscribed like after, like once I ended my stream yesterday. But big shout out to Ricardo for subscribing. Wasn't expecting that one. I appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. I love those surprises. I think I'm streaming to nobody watching, but there's actually people on the other side, so that's pretty dope, man. Pretty fortunate and blessed. Appreciate those that do tune in and give your boy a chance. Yeah, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna step away for a second, just get hydrated, get the bathroom up until this session goes live. Then we could tune in. Alright, just give me a quick sec. Hopefully it doesn't start as soon as I leave, but regardless, we will be tuning in. Yeah, just hang tight. Be right back. Hit up that bio. I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump into this real quick. Go through some of these recordings. We could do this for a little bit while we wait. Now I got something, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. Where's that at?
Watch your six. Resurgence window is ending.
Where you at? Make some changes here real quick.
Like the movie.
Oh, there we go.
I know you've seen it before, so I'm glad you liked it in this amazing theater at Art Center. We're so happy that the students here and also filmmakers have a great place to display their works. So thank you for everyone who supported our initiative in getting this theater made. And we're so thankful for our hosts here at Art Center and for you guys who are here and for everyone on Vero watching us. And we have a big reveal tonight.
Oh,
This
shit.
is the Trinity, and Weta made this amazing Trinity sculpture, and it's going to be going for sale now. And 10% of the purchases of this weekend will be donated
It's a beautiful
to AFSP.
looking sculpture, man.
So,
But I don't know if that's a
if you would
sculpture
like to
or action
pre-order
figures.
this, you can go to
It is dope.
wetaworkshop.com /shop. So thank you. We're really excited about this.
Zap.
And without further ado, we're going to introduce the panel and get ready to do this. Okay, here.
Switch mics. Take that one. All right. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I guess. No, I'm not. Who's it? All right. Yeah, here you go.
Hey, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. My name is Sean O'Connell. I'm the managing editor at Cinema Blend, and I'm so delighted to be hosting this panel tonight. Starting with, we're going to introduce everybody who's here tonight, starting with Zack Snyder, filmmaker, director of Batman and Superman. We also have, I'm making sure that he's here, Damon Caro is joining us. Damon's here.
Damon.
Damon is joining us as well. We have DJ Desjardins is joining us as well too. DJ just got in time for this.
Yeah, I'm not
Finally, we
digging
have
the
Patrick
moderator.
Katopoulos joining us for the
Yeah.
Q&A. Give it up for Patrick, please.
I thought we were gonna have like Gal Gadot sitting down to talk about the
Larry
movie
Fong
and shit.
today.
What's going on, man?
Yes.
But y'all do
DJ's
this
going
to
to play
me.
the part of
DJ.
Larry Fong tonight.
Yeah, Larry's not feeling well. Larry was going to come. So let's all send out a vibe to Larry to get better. My mic feels like. Can you guys hear me? Am I speaking through it? Can you guys hear me back there?
Show of hands in the back.
All right, good.
All right.
I know I don't really need a mic, but it's fine.
We want to thank everybody, of course,
Anyway,
who
that's
is
cool.
here
Couldn't
live for the Q&A, and of course, everybody who is online via Vero. Thank you for tuning in. I want to start with an easy one. Zach, is it true that you discovered all of these guys through a hummus commercial?
No, they were not that. It could have been, but it wasn't. It was, I discovered them through, well, Damon I've known forever. So Damon, I think I discovered him through our mutual friend Kurt Johnstad, who, you know, is one of my writing partners I write with all the time. They were buddies, and he came by, I mean, literally in like 1992, I think it was, or 93, sometime, wasn't it, 92? Yeah, so
You were
I
doing
was
a Super
6.
Bowl spot.
Yeah, I was, Super Bowl spot for Budweiser, right? Yeah, so yeah, a long time ago. Who knows what Olympics it was? It was like the first Olympics. So yeah, so that's when I met Damon. And then DJ I met a because of course we worked on what he came in to say like, hey, what the fuck are you doing with this Watchmen thing? Like, what is that? You're gonna fuck it up, I'm sure. And I was like, no, I'm gonna try not to. And he's like, all right, we'll see. I'll do your movie. It wasn't that. He wasn't that crusty, but it was cool. It was like, but then he ended up like, of course,
Yeah,
being
that's
amazing, and we became amazing friends. And he's done everything with me since then. And then Patrick, of course, is the genius production designer.
Woo! Give it up.
Who came in to do this movie, and then stayed through Justice League. You know, like so. You know, great to have him. So thanks for coming out.
Incredible panel.
No hum is commercial, though that is a great origin story as well.
Damon, I would like to start with you. You are famously known, of course, for designing the warehouse fight scene, which I think everybody in this room would agree is without question the best Batman sequence of all time. I want to get your opinion on why you think that scene continues to resonate with audiences to this day.
Well, I would say that I'm a fan. There's a part inside me that I'm just an 8-year-old kid still, and thank God I found a career where I could continue to keep that side alive. Right. And that's just the way I always wanted to see Batman move, and obviously had this gentleman to go, yeah, let's go nuts.
Yeah,
here.
thanks God you had the skill set to then make that happen. That's like a nice perfect storm of, because there's one thing if someone's like, oh, it's cool. I'd love to see Batman fight in a cool way, but like Damon knows how to do that, so that's a good. That's good.
Thank you, and an amazing team we have. Obviously, I keep a lot of talented people around me that share the same passions, and likewise Zach's leading from the front always. So it's just pure passion is what it was created out of, and it's really flattering and humbling to see how people receive it to this day.
There's something I want to follow up with you on because I saw this on Screen Rant that you, and I didn't know this until today, you play Joe Chill also in the beginning of the movie. You're the one who kills Martha. So in a way, you get to kill Martha and then eventually save Martha.
It is
that
odd.
Parallel intentional? Zach, did you do? Is that some meta thing that you did for him?
No, but it's cool. Because I just was like, I like Damon in the movies. I just like him in the movies. He's really actually a good actor, and he's always very humble. But like, I just like putting him in the movies. So I was like, oh, you should be Joe Chill. You should kill the Waynes. And he was like, all right, fine, okay, I guess if I must. It was freezing. It was so cold. But and it did a great job.
Was that Chicago?
It was Chicago, and it was the coldest time I've ever. It was so cold.
Yeah, everyone behind camera literally had, you could see maybe their eyes.
Yeah, we were on an Arctic
parkas.
expedition, and they were just like normal people. And he was like in a leather jacket.
Well worth it, but it was a chilly evening.
And then
all the cameras fucked up, so it was like that's how cold it was.
The warehouse used to be called the Martha Rescue, wasn't it? When you guys were working on it?
Yeah, that's what in prep. That's just what we coined it.
Right.
We'll give scene sequences just nicknames to understand what we're working on, etc. But yeah, Martha Rescue was the.
That's one of the first things you guys shot, wasn't it?
It literally was, I think, the very first thing. And like we had this thing of starting movies with an action sequence. Like when we did Watchmen, we started with the comedian fight. Comedian fights Ozymandias in his apartment, and so it was funny because production was always like, "Don't do that! You guys are going to get so far behind on that." And we were like, "No, we know what we're doing. We're not gonna. Don't worry, we're okay." But it was always good for all of us to get up to speed with something like that because it's complex and it's a lot of different departments having to work together. And, it gives everyone a chance to kind of feel each other out, see how it's going to be. And to me, it's always like a great way to start. And we didn't get behind. We actually did our jobs correctly. And it was good.
Yeah, it takes the edge off a little bit to get one of those in the can. All right, sweet, let's go. Builds momentum, right?
And there's always cool shots you do. So everyone's like, oh, that was cool. And you get, it gets you psyched up. It's not like, oh, we shot the scene where they like, blah, 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 whatever. It's not as fun. It's not like, oh, Batman just came through the roof and started killing guys. Okay, that's great. Like,
Zach,
now we're into it.
Do you edit while you shoot?
Edit while I shoot. I mean, normally editorial runs alongside the movie. So, you can go up and I can go up and look at, an assembly of the thing to see if it's working. But we don't really rely on the cut of the movie to say like, oh, did we get everything we need? Every now and then, like, with Dodie, who I'm working with now, she's really fast, super fast, and will send me a text that says like, do you think we need a shot of blah blah blah? And and then they'll send me the sequence on my phone. I'm like, oh no, it's okay, or yeah, fuck, you're right. So yeah, but I think in that case we had a lot of coverage, and the previs was so good, so we were just trying to get what those guys had like laid down.
DJ, obviously this movie focuses heavily on the formation of the Trinity, which we know is going to be incredibly important, but I think it gets overlooked how the work that you did in visual effects on the other Justice League characters that we meet in this film, it really ends up becoming the blueprint for how they are presented in later films. It's brief, but I was wondering if you could talk a bit about the process of coming up with how you're going to show the different powers of say, Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman. Aquawoman would also be great. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Moa has long hair in it. I got confused. Which one was the challenge, and which one came together quickly? And if you could answer in Larry Fong's voice, I would appreciate it.
Hello.
Wes.
Oh, you don't get a microphone.
Yeah. I'll just.
Hello.
Yeah. I'll feed you the lines, and you can tell everybody.
Wes.
Wes, can you come and answer the question? Well, Ezra, Flash, I think, was like those pre-production days. That was the very
first thing we shot was
right?
Ezra.
And the main thing I remember about that was it was
Wow.
sponsored by Doritos, and somehow the visual effects department ended up with bags of Doritos around forever, which was cool.
That's good for you guys.
Yeah, it was good. But we didn't really have to do much to develop him because that was just lightning flashes at the time. We didn't really nail him down till Justice League, right?
Yeah, the only tricky thing was that weird him holding the milk container.
Yeah,
we had
the
to
milk, right.
figure out if he could
Yeah.
it drops a teeny bit.
Well, the
right?
milk container was CG. That was the thing. Yeah, he had to go and come back, and he had to catch it before it dropped. And then Aquaman proved our dry for wet theory because we shot it wet.
We shot
for
it
wet,
wet, and it was a
yeah,
mistake.
and it was a pain in the ass.
It was the
like,
worst.
forget it.
It's the
We'll
worst
never do
idea
a
we
whole
had.
movie like that.
I remember we were like, oh yeah, let's just shoot it underwater. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we were like, that is not cool.
Yeah, it's not cool.
We shot it like in a weird swimming pool in like Detroit, like in this weird. I remember like also when Jason showed up. Remember he was. They had to put all the tattoos on him. Remember, and he was like
that's right.
basically half naked, and everyone was like participating. Suddenly, everybody showed up to want to put on the tattoos. I was like, "Where were you guys like 5 minutes ago?" Came out like, "Oh, I'll help." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." Yes, I remember that. But it was such a weird. We had like green screen in the pool, and it was like,
We
yeah,
did. Yeah.
it was not.
And then we vowed never to do it
Yeah,
again.
we said
Yeah.
that was a mistake.
And then Cyborg was very weird, right? Because you had a design for the whole lab, but we could only put the
Foreground.
dressing in,
Yeah.
right? Not the far background stuff. So that was like a weird green screen thing too. That we where did we shot that here? Didn't we?
I thought we did shoot that
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Weirdly,
Not
like
here.
yeah,
yeah,
right
yeah.
when we got back.
Yeah, it was like by the airport. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, and then we.
Right.
But it was cool in Justice League because then we had to recreate that
Yeah.
thing only like in a real giant set, like in a real lab. So that was kind of fun
That was cool.
to like retroactively then actually build a thing that we hadn't built. That was cool.
Yep.
All right, I want to stay on
Well,
Ezra.
we did. Oh, sorry.
go
Didn't
ahead.
mean to stomp on that. But
Please.
what I remember about Aquaman was that's where we came up with the, what do we call it? The hydrokinetic movement.
Oh, right. That's right.
Because we're like, well, when he has to leave this thing in the wide shot from the robot camera, should he be like, we didn't want him like, going like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He wasn't going to do
On
that.
a pink seahorse. Yeah, on a pink seahorse. So that was when we said he's just going to be like Superman. He's just going to go because he can control that. Yeah, and that set the tone for everything. Yeah,
Hydrokinetic.
hydrokinetic.
I don't know if you guys know this,
Bullshit.
but there was so much curiosity in the fan base of just like, how is this going to look, especially Aquaman and the way that he moved through. 'Cause I remember
Before you saw him?
before
or-
we saw
yeah.
it, yes, before we saw it. 'Cause
We
then-
also were curious.
Yeah, we were curious. We were Aquaman curious. So was everybody else, apparently. Yeah.
You finally put that clip up on Vero, which was Jason swimming up to the throne, I believe. I think it was when you finally started to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. Yeah.
That was the first thing we shot for Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
And remember, it was like one of the first shots we got back. Because remember, I filmed it off the. I filmed it off the screen.
And Rhoda and I were looking at each other like, "What's he doing?" Like we signed a thing not to do that.
Yeah, I never signed that.
Like, I'm putting this out
I
today.
never signed that. I don't care what the lawyers say. Yeah.
All right, I want to stay on Ezra because we have a question that came in from Vero, and thank you very much, guys, for submitting your questions. This one says, the Flash in the Batcave telling Bruce that Lois is the key is one of my favorite scenes ever. Would we at any point have seen the other side of that, seeing the scene from the Flash's perspective?
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole thing was that we would. Well, I guess we were talking about it just a minute ago, that the idea was that in whatever Justice League that would have been, Justice League 2, I guess, you would have seen a scene. There was a scene where they were getting ready to, Flash was getting ready to go back in time, and the idea was that he said to Bruce, Bruce said to him, like, that there were two possible windows in which he could jump back through time. And Bruce said, well, which one would you have gone through if I didn't say anything? And he said, well, we were going to go through this one. He said, don't go through that one because you went through it. It didn't work. Right. I said, you can't. So go through the other one. So you would have seen that, right? So then he would have gone to the correct moment.
And he had to tell him something that would make him believe.
Yeah, and he would have had to tell him something, yeah.
Yeah.
Which at that time was that in the other reality was that the child of Lois Lane's child was his.
Right.
That's what he told Bruce to make him believe that he was really from the future.
Yeah, it's getting complicated.
So
yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
We need a chart. We need some of those.
You need a chart.
We need
It
some
exists.
of those.
The chart
terrain-
exists. Yeah,
it
that's
exists.
Am I wearing it?
Yeah, you might be. You might be wearing it. Yeah, you are wearing it.
Kinda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah.
Along those
boy.
lines, this is also submitted by Vero. Thank you very much, guys, for sending it in. Zach, during the Pizza Film School recently, you mentioned that Chris Terrio had a bag of Post-it notes. Can you give us an idea or reference from those notes that you really wanted to use or just loved but couldn't for some reason?
Oh, there's so many. But you know what? Off the top of my head, I can't think of any Post-it note that was like a gem that we just couldn't use. I feel like we really tried to shoehorn all the Post-it notes into the movie. And by the way, I couldn't decipher the Post-it notes anyway. So it was really his domain and his like secret filing system that kept him, the perfect amount of mystery. So that there's no way we could get rid of him because he was like the arbiter of all those Post-it notes. So yes, I don't know, but tomorrow you can ask him, or we can ask him if he shows up.
A little tease.
Yeah, what?
Little tease of who might be on the panel tomorrow. Any Terrio fans in the audience here? Yeah, exactly. Now you got to come, Chris. Now you have to come.
Yeah, now he really does have to. He probably won't be like a pull a Larry Fong on us, but that's fine.
Patrick, I would love to discuss, because this film introduces Batman and the entire corner of Batman in that universe in a way that we have never seen before. And so if you could talk a bit about your inspirations for his Batcave in particular and how it reflects his personality. And even this iteration of the Batmobile, which I'm going to assume is not his first, the way that he's constantly innovating.
So it started with doesn't work.
Wes.
Hello. Okay, good. Yeah, so it started with a quick meeting I had with Zach. Actually, Zach, he told me about what the character was first. He's a different guy. He's a bigger guy. He's an older guy. He's bald. That kind of thing. All those things sort of got me going. And so there's a simplicity in the shape of the Batcave. I didn't want it to be ornamental based on my discussion with Zach, and he had to be bold. simple, and also everything should be hanging. The concept of a bat, to me, was important to have everything sort of hanging. Like even the bat wing was hanging. The car, when the windows open, are like bat wing. The theme of bat. I mean, even the lab was sorry. Even the lab was like all suspended. So this idea, the concept of the bat was very prominent, at least in my head, and we showed stuff to Zach, and he seemed to have reacted to that. Other than that, it's bold and strong and no ornamental pieces, and I felt that made it different. Felt like that Batcave was not trying to be pretty; it was just practical. It was not meant. He hadn't carved the cave to build his cave. The cave was there. He built his building in it, fitting that cave. There was a sense that like, he didn't transform something; he just built it. And also, there's a sense of very modular. You talk about someone that keep building things. Probably was not the first Batmobile, probably not. But even the Batcave looks like it could be augmented, diminished, changed. That's kind of the idea. This is all based on a 10-minute talk with Zach at the beginning. Really? I mean, I got to say, you sometimes spend time with directors, and there's a long explanation about things. And sometimes someone you sit with is going to tell you 5 words, and those 5 words are going to give you the essence of what he's got in his head. So after that, it's your job to kind of develop. But that was enough for me to go somewhere, at least with.
Patrick, one additional character I'd love you to elaborate on is Lex. This is a totally different version of Lex. It's a younger version of Lex. What were some of the inspirations that Zach maybe spoke to you so you can form Lex Core, and then how he would be presented?
I mean, Zach, you told me a couple of things about it, but the Google vibe, this kind of a new generation of like, the modern, multimedia kind of characters. So that's kind of where we went with this. I like one thing that Zach wanted to see, is like the beginning, the entrance of his building was made of like playful games and little areas which you see on those modern companies. And that
like Facebook and
that's kind of where we went.
And Google.
And then we also had that little nostalgic old LexCorp neon sign in the basketball by the basketball court. Yeah, that I really always like that old sign, like, oh, that's where we started, or his dad, or whatever.
The basketball court, on the back of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sort of fits the character. That was kind of what was, he came up, and there was this character that was very strong, and you knew this kind of the world he would be living in, and this one, we had a few little things I threw at me all the time, about what he wanted to see about, the game place, and then there's this whole high-tech lab on the side. And also interesting is where we shot this thing, Gotta say that this place, we're in Detroit, we're in,
There we go. Detroit's in the house.
We found a location that was very inspiring. I think, Zach, don't you think? I mean,
that was like across the street from our studio, and it was like this abandoned automotive. I don't know what. I think it was Ford.
It was Ford.
It was Ford. Like distribution. It was a parts distribution office. That was like an incredibly. It was a big building. It wasn't like a small affair, and we were able to use it and really build onto it. It's cool. Yeah, it was a beautiful lobby actually.
We really did use Detroit for Detroit. I mean, Detroit was really the basis of Gotham.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that buildings are scattered, they're not. Some of them have been torn apart, and you got them like scattered around, not like the typical city. Was a great place for us to kind of build the city, and you augment it in CG as well. So I felt. Yeah, you did. Oh, you didn't do it? Oh, I thought you did that.
No, we didn't do anything.
Okay, we did it. Oh, Damon. Yeah. So yeah.
Larry Fong did.
Larry. So yeah. So.
Damn, they got jokes on him
Damon,
all
there's
day.
a ton of work being done now by directors that work hand in hand with their stunt collaborators in the John Wick franchise. You see guys like David Leitch and Chaz Stahelski who are pushing that through. I don't hear a ton about how much Zach interacts with the stunt team.
He's very cruel. He's very cold. No, sorry, go ahead.
I guess how much freedom does he give you to come up with what you want to come up with? And how much input is he giving you along the way in the process?
Tremendous freedom, but we've always met early on in early production. Zach and I will meet and concept design and just discuss. And that's really where we get our outline in our brains and in the texture of what he's desiring, and we just kind of play with concepts there. Then I'd get a team of guys and start to create just walkthroughs, structures, just skeletons. he can oversee those and go, yes, keep that, change that, I love it, go nuts now. And then he just lets us go into the petri dish and go a little crazy.
Yeah, because like all the I mean, like these guys that we've worked with over the years, these are like, you know, our friends. Like I see them all in every movie, the same group of guys. You know, it's like not. I mean, it's literally. I mean, Rich is in every single movie I've made. Like literally, he's like. He's literally made it through every single movie. He needs like I don't know what kind of a black belt you get for that, but it's like a lot of stripes on it. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I mean, the stunt guys are really important to me.
Zach, I want to ask you about this because you do something in BVS that you eventually do in Justice League as well too, which is that you open essentially on a scene that was pivotal from the previous movie. The idea you show it to us from a different point of view. The idea to put Bruce on the ground in Metropolis during the invasion. The idea of showing us Superman's scream opening the mother boxes. I'm curious if there's a deeper narrative backing behind that you want to start in a way to kind of bridge to the previous film, or is that coincidence the way that those two have opened?
I guess for me, it's just because the stories are so intertwined, it's just important to catch you up on what's happening specifically in the moment you just left, you know, and that, you know, I think by backtracking a teeny bit or overlapping, it allows the continuity of the story to continue. And I think that really that's the main reason. I mean, in BVS, in this movie, you know, there's a real cyclical nature to the film. Starts with a casket, ends with a casket. It's very much a circular kind of affair, but it does lead into Justice League, and it does come from Superman. So that was also really important to me. So.
Gotcha. And then before we turn it over to you guys in the audience, I have one more I wanted to ask about. Excuse me. It's clear that the Ultimate Edition of BVS is the definitive version. I don't think there's anybody here that would disagree. I mean, you hear from virtually every fan that they prefer it over the theatrical cut, and most say that it's a different movie because of the way that it plays. If I'm being completely candid with you, I connected with the Ultimate Edition more than I did the theatrical cut. And I wanted to ask you if it's challenging to know that, like, the first step into the world of a story that you've worked on is a version that might not be the Ultimate Edition, might not be the best one to put out there.
Look, the truth is that I have, you know, you would think by now that people would know that I have a certain relationship with the director's cuts of my movies and my relationship to the marketplace and how that, you know, I think if analyzed in retrospect over the course of my career, you can kind of see a bit of a pattern developing. And so, and maybe by the time it reached BVS, people kind of, you know, mainstream pop culture hadn't really come around to or understood how that concept works with me. And I think that I'm okay with it because I understand that, you know, movies are expensive and you have to, they are on one hand this incredible vision of like what you think is cool and all that stuff, but on the other hand, they're a product that someone paid you a lot of money to make. Mm-hmm. So there's a balance there, and we all understand that, you know, you have to, you know, they own the movie in the end, right? It's their movie, it's their IP, it's everything, but, and we're just kind of, you know, we're stealing it a little bit to make our movie. And so you have to, that balance is delicate. And so I guess for me, that this version of the movie exists at all is what I'm happy about, right?
Absolutely. Big round of applause. All right, I want to start taking questions from the audience, and I believe we have people with microphones who can come around to...
They might not work.
So far, they've had some good questions. I like those questions.
Lady up front was
a lot
the
better
first
than
one to put her hand
yesterday.
up, I swear, so I'm going to go with her. But I'm definitely going to get
Two
the
for
people all
two.
the way in the back, too.
So I love all of the panelists here, but I would have loved it if you had also had Chris here, because this question is kind of for the two of you.
Chris Terrio.
Yes, Chris Terrio. So
Yeah,
I will
anyway.
be here tomorrow.
Oh, you're not
but-
coming tomorrow? Okay, well, I'll relate it to him then.
But
Go ahead.
I would be really interested to know more about the creative collaboration between the two of you as it applies to the political intrigue of this story, because it's so pervasive and multifaceted. False flag operations, retaliation against whistleblowers, and in particular, the use of a false testimony as a propaganda tool to fan the flames of conflict. In this case, it's between two superheroes and not two countries or political forces. But it conjures historical memories of things like the Naira testimony in 1990 for the Gulf War, and Colin Powell with the WMDs. So if you could offer as much time as you're able to give to this really big topic, because it's really interesting and it's such a unique way.
Snyder's head is blood. His fucking mind is like this right now.
We were really, yes, that's a great question. It's a great question. And I will say that,
she came in with the
be
big
its
guns.
own,
She said, "Yo, fuck this. This is not
college
Batman versus
class, we can
Superman.
teach
This
about
is
that,
this is real
but
life.
then I
Okay,
will
this
say
is
that,
serious."
Chris is very, and was very interested in, sort of unilateral like power and how that would be represented by Superman and/or Batman. And that on a local level,
That was beautiful, man. That was a fucking serious question.
Represent, kind of two tips of the spear in those two different arenas, and how on a micro level, Batman is sort of affecting policy on the streets, a lot of street level, and Superman could be affecting policy on a global level. And like, what are those tools? Even just like subtly in like, if you're looking at maybe it's not that subtle, but like if you're looking at the protests against Superman outside the Capitol, there's like one of them has like a drone, like on a stick, because we were saying, it's that level of sort of how do you take an icon like Superman and superimpose those powers over whatever, the implications are of someone who's able to, say, manipulate world events in the way that he could. And even in our story, he's not really doing it to that level, but certainly there are forces around him that easily can take what he does and shape it in a way that when it gets to the public, it's sort of something else. And and that's obviously a thing that, unless you're naive, could be happening in the real world every day. So that was really a thing we talked about all the time. And with many examples that, when you look at the movie, you can really see how it applied to the time we made it. And literally, it really does stand the test of time in the sense that it, we could have made this movie yesterday and it would still have the same impact. Anyway, so.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There's a guy in a white shirt in the middle, all the way up top there. Yes, that went very, caught my eye.
Thank you, and thank you, Zach, and everyone for putting this on this weekend.
Thanks for being here, you guys. Thank you very much.
Woo!
Not all of superhero movies and comic book style films in the last decade or so, they've really shied away from showing, I think, real violence, whether it's towards humanity or even towards the villains. There's almost an aversion to showing something brutal or something that makes you feel small and helpless, kind of like what we see with Lex. Even your heroes might have to make giant sacrifices that can go against those moral compasses, be it killing or letting someone die. But what is it that you found that you wanted to explore in showing what I think is the reality of what these gods and demons can do in our world and the stakes for which they fight? Because their actions on our half, I think, feel so much more impactful when you see them succeeding or when you see...
Yo, is that guy wearing a Batman mask?
Wow, okay. I guess,
this dude got the Batman.
and I'm a fan.
Nah, that's what's up,
of
though,
these
man.
characters.
It just looks hella funny,
So,
like he's just
to
turning
me,
around trying to find the guy.
challenge
Like,
them
he probably can't
is
even
really
see well,
my
but he's still doing
responsibility
it.
in some ways,
I find it's his
I
little
do
humor
not,
there.
it's not my intention to, tear them down. It's my intention to, like, try and understand them and their relevance. If the way you show them whether it be vulnerable, whether it be confused, and whether it be like questioning the why of their existence. Those are all things that, as they are challenged by those things and or overcome those things, they become sort of, you lock them in as iconographic or as important, I guess, and it's only by challenging them as icons that you end up with the real hero in the end, and so that was the thesis that I had given myself as far as how these characters would be portrayed, that I would deconstruct them, but in an attempt to make them, put them on a journey that sets them as what we believe they are, or can be. So that was kind of, I don't know if that answers the question, but that's the why of it to me.
I'll go with this man right here. No, right in front there. Yeah. If you can get a microphone. They're coming to you. They're coming.
Here it comes.
Good workout.
Yeah.
Like how you keep picking opposite ends of this.
Run there.
Outside.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Zach, thank you for all your movies. Big fan.
Thank you.
In this film, we see Diana in a picture in 1918 with Steve and her crew, which we eventually see in Wonder Woman. A couple years ago, you posted a picture of Wonder Woman 1854 and also a storyline from Stephen Berkman, I believe. He shot the photo, right? Which is dope.
Yay, Stephen Berkman. Also Art Center alumni and teacher.
Oh, okay, awesome. What's unique about that photo is we see a lot of warriors from different cultures being represented. And for me, though it didn't maybe pan out because of whatever may have happened the past 10 years, I saw a Sikh warrior right next to her right shoulder. And I wanted to say thank you for including me at that level because
nice.
Besides showing my people as, whatever, taxi drivers or, at that level, I really, really like that you showed off, even though it's very, small, it meant a lot to me. As a fan, I really want to know how would have that storyline panned out? If you can shed some light. I know it's Crimea.
The idea, I don't know if I've talked about, have I talked about this? I don't know. The idea of it was that in those days, because Diana was searching for the god of war, searching for Ares around the world, she would have gone to, in her sort of quest to find him, she ended up going to all the hot spots where all these conflicts were in the world. And then in those conflicts, looking for Ares, she would come across some amazing warrior on the battlefield that she would say, hey, I'm looking for this god of war. I need, a team to help me. And that was the basic concept behind who all those guys were. And that they saw her on the battlefield and she was so insanely powerful that they were like, yeah, I guess in service of this goddess, like that, is even more powerful than like the surface of my country or whatever I'm doing, whatever political war I'm in. This goddess asking me to join her is like, that's like quite an honor. And so that's why when we see her in Crimea, she's ended up with those cats that are with her from her journey around the world.
Quick follow-up on that, Zach. What do you remember about the first day that you heard Zimmer's theme for Wonder Woman?
Oh yeah. I remember being down in his little his crazy studio, which is amazing, down in Santa Monica. It's kind of like it's kind of like a cool, I don't know what. It's like it has a lot of bookshelves and like sculptures in it. It looks a little bit like the Phantom of the Opera setup. In the middle, you're kind of on these old sofas. It's really cool. It's like, and then he was like, okay, here we go. This is it. What do you like? I think he kind of sprung it on me. Like he said, this is going to be, I think this is a cool way to introduce Wonder Woman. And he played it and we were literally, it's exactly as it is. And it just blew us away. And I remember just going like, wow, because we did talk about it being like this tribal kind of like visceral, like instead of, as a way to introduce Wonder Woman, I think a lot of people thought, or you could think about it in a lot of different ways, and that was kind of a surprise sound for her, but totally fits her. And it's a thing that's endured, I think, with her over the movies a little bit. And, you know, I think that just is a testament to how sort of unique and exciting it was. And clearly I loved it. So.
That's incredible. All right. Let's see. Where can we go? Let's go. This guy right here with the beard. And let's get other questions for the panelists too, as well. Visual effects questions, stunt questions.
No, I'm good.
Stunt visual effects. Cinematography for Larry Fong down there.
Just keep going, Zach.
Let's call Larry on the phone.
Cameras and lenses.
Okay, so last one, at least for Zach. Quick question. So I know it was hinted, essentially, that Kara was one of the survivors from the ship with the open pod and the skeleton. I was just curious when you were going to actually bring her in, if you had any, thought of bringing her into one of the later movies.
No, tell the real story. Tell the real story that...
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Tell the story that broke the studio at the time.
Turn off the cameras. I'll let DJ say it.
Anything about like where that guy was or where that person went?
So remember, we liked the idea that, you know what I'm talking about.
That. Well, like it's this whole thing with like
Ares and Zeus,
the gods and Ares and Zeus, and whether or not like Zeus was really possibly a Kryptonian, and that so that Wonder Woman's powers. Anyway, you could sort of see where that's going, because the whole thing of like whether or not magic and the gods, there's a version where like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but like there's also the more sort of scientific kind of, you have like a mythology built up of like where do gods come from, like what is that about, and so anyway, we had played around with that quite a bit.
And Ares was the one that caused the scout ship to crash.
Yeah.
And be in the ice.
What?
Yeah. He killed his crew.
Yeah.
Why you can't just throw that out there.
You can.
That's not. That
I just did.
Follow up.
We have a lot of conversations about this stuff. So.
Aren't you glad DJ came instead of Larry?
Larry might have said that too.
All right, other questions. That man right there had his hand up first. Yes, you, sir. Yes. That Batman had his hand up first. You're next, Batman. I'll get you. I promise.
Hey, Zach. Thank you for taking my question. My brother and I came out from New Jersey for this. Very happy to be here.
Jersey!
I'm going to ask you something that I've been wondering.
Where in Jersey?
Verona by Montclair.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you something that I've been wondering about since the first Batman vs. Superman trailer. One of the elements that you introduced in that trailer was the dead Robin suit in the Batcave. Robin's death at the hands of the Joker was teased again in Suicide Squad and your version of Justice League, but was never shown on screen. What were the events leading up to and resulting in Robin's death in your universe?
I'll do a brief one because I think that that's still something that would be cool for people to see at some point. I don't know when or ever, but so I don't want to ruin it entirely. It may never happen, but
like on Netflix.
Yeah, nice.
We thought
But
Zack Snyder's Justice League wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's
so
true. They said
never
that.
say never.
Yo, they dropping heat. He said, "Yeah, I ain't giving you all the goods because you never know. You never know."
To hurt Batman, obviously, he has at that point he had his real vulnerability was Robin, right? And so I think that what's obvious is that the Joker understood that, right? And all I'll say is that, I think I've talked about this a little bit, haven't I? That, he clearly blew him up, or it looks like he's scorched him. I think beyond that, I really don't want to say the actual circumstances because I feel like it's a spoiler for maybe a thing that will never need to be spoiled. But we should wait to see, don't you think? A little bit.
Yes. Can I try a Joker follow-up?
Sure.
It might be a spoiler for something that we might get to see at some point in the near future. At some point, but in the nightmare sequence of Justice League, it's made very clear that Batman had to bring Joker along because he was going to be important somehow. How might he be important to the mission they were trying to complete?
Our theory is that he's the one that knows where the kryptonite, what shards of kryptonite exist. He has that information. And so he's being carried. So he's basically made a deal with Batman. Don't kill me, and I'll show you, I'll get you a tool to fight Superman. And so he's kind of stuck with him in that way. And so, like, if he kills him or gets rid of him, then he's screwed himself.
So who's going to give him the reach around?
Yeah, exactly. That is
All
true.
right.
There's a couple other people that would.
Batman, over here, Batman.
First of all, I just want to preface and say that as someone who lost a stepbrother to suicide this entire weekend means a lot to me. So I want to thank all of you for lending your creativity to a powerful movement.
Incredible. Awesome, brother. Thanks for sharing that.
I've been wondering for all you guys. I know that the Batman v Superman team up movie has been in creative development in creative development for a long time, and I just wondered if there were any initial ideas that all you guys had that the studio kind of rejected or kind of like mandated that you not do. And if there was anything that you could share about bringing...
The one that you saw.
Because Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman are such big, iconic, characters. Was there anything that maybe you're like, okay, let's put a pin in that and maybe we'll just beat them down and we'll just, have the fans rally and get stuff done?
Yeah, the one that you saw.
The one that we saw?
Yeah, I mean, like in a lot of ways... Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that when Chris and I sort of wrote the movie or talked about this version of the movie, it was not the version of the movie necessarily that the studio was. Like, it was not like a big fun romp where those two are like, just you can imagine. I think that there's a version like, I'm sure the version of the movie that's on the poster in I Am Legend is more of the movie. Whatever that movie was going to be was probably the movie that they wanted. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't have that script, but that was it. But you can just tell by the poster that it seemed more fun.
But not epic like yours.
But not epic.
Yeah.
But fun. Hilarious. I bet there was a lot of zingers in it. They were zinging each other the whole time. They probably hurt each other more with zingers than actual blows.
Hey, Zach.
Like there was comments about why is your underwear on the outside of your pants? And he's like, why's yours?
Zach, I remember.
This is an alien uniform.
Remember when you kept coming back to me saying we have to, the MPAA wants us to remember we couldn't do the blood splat on the wall.
Yes.
Right, from the crate, which is
Yes.
in the one that you like, but not
You guys
in the
saw
theatrical.
the blood on the wall.
But we kept taking all those things out and it was still getting an R rating, and then you got that note from them, well, we just think that Batman's too mean to Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, can you really comment on that, you
Yeah,
guys?
I didn't think that was in your domain. To just not like the idea of them fighting, and so now it's R. That was, yeah.
Even the
100%.
MPAA.
Yeah, they were just like, we think it's rude that they're fighting. And I was like, I'm sorry, it's in the title. It's like...
Is that in your list of
Yeah.
what? It's an R rating? No, I
yeah,
don't
it
see
says
it here.
NC-17. This is an X.
Yeah, cut that part out.
Yeah. Is there any way you could cut them fighting out? That'd be cool. How about they just team up and like each other?
Yeah, that's it.
What about that?
Violence, language, and a mean superhero.
Yeah.
The reasons for your rating.
And yeah. Can't they
Oh
just
man, yeah, everything
you know,
is flowers
maybe they
and
like
teddy
argue at the first
bears.
act, but then they shake hands, and then like they fight. They
Like, all right, we're
bad
cool.
guy
We're
together. Like,
cool.
well, they kind of fight the bad guy together at the end. Then you see that, and they're like, well, there's a lot of fighting before that.
I didn't like that.
DJ, when I put the question out to Twitter followers about something they wanted to know about this film, there was a lot of talk about.
Yeah, people weren't ready for this movie. That's the problem, man. People were too drawn into the Disney vibes, and
Yeah. We actually did
that played a
previs
major
test,
factor in
remember?
it.
We actually modeled him and everything.
Metallo,
Whatever.
thank
Yeah, because you had a design for that, right? So we built that and had him like by the Washington Monument and that whole thing. Yeah. That didn't make it.
It's another one of those things.
Well, because it was a,
That was Scoot's character.
Yeah,
originally.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what Scoot McNairy
Scoot,
was
yeah,
gonna
Scoot
be him.
McNairy's character. Yeah.
After his legs got
But
crushed.
that was a whole different movie.
Yeah, it was a completely different weirdo movie that we
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else out here? Yes, this sir right over here. Hey, they're coming.
Oh, microphone.
It's pretty odd that
Microphone guy.
Zach, thank you for all the verisimilitude you put in this movie. Great. My favorite thing about your filmography is the way you do semiotics. I know you have to communicate that to your crew, but how much and to what depth do you communicate that to your cast?
Okay, in what sense? Sort of.
Like, well, here's what we're doing with this scene that's a little bit beyond the surface.
Oh yeah. Well, I think in the process of making the movie, when you meet with the actors and talk about what the movie is, and the script, by the way, is always like a jumping off point, and there's always subtext in the way the script is written anyway. And then when I go through the drawings with them, there's always that next sort of layer, and then it's the discussions about what they would bring and how free they are to kind of keep digging. And I always try to encourage them to go. There's no I don't think, oh, that's too much. Like you're making it too complicated. Like that's not a thing. You can always. There's always the thing about making a movie is you can always take things out. It's not like it's easy to to trim back a concept or like a point of view, but it's really you can't create that in the editorial process. You can't say, oh, it'd be cool if there was more depth to this moment, because that's not, it was never there, but it's easy to take it out. And so I don't mean to overshoot, but I tend to a little bit. Really? Yeah. I always feel like I've barely got enough footage. I always feel like that. Hours later. Yeah, I always feel like that. I literally am like, there's no way the scene we can make it with those small amount of shots that we have. Never is. By the way, no reshoots, so that's it. Yeah. Not by us anyway.
Patrick and I still have PTSD from that. So yeah.
I didn't go, I'm happy to say. I just want to follow up on that I've seen Zach been privy to conversations where he's actually had to lean in on an actor or actress to try and get them to go there. Again, wanting to go beyond, and then he can reel it back. So if anything, he goes
too far.
Which is how you know how to bring it back to where it needs to be.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
It was too showy for the moment, and what that's a great question. Too showy for what the moment was. It was more real world. We need to kill this guy. So, and Lateef could do that with a spin kick, yeah. but for the overall tone, it didn't fit. Great question.
All right, right up front there, black shirt, it's like 2 rows back from the middle.
This one's from Patrick Tatopoulos. I mainly know your work for stuff like Godzilla and Underworld. So what's the difference between doing stuff like monsters and doing superheroes?
And superheroes?
What's the difference between doing like monsters and superheroes when you have to design them?
There's no difference. You did this, really?
The internet needs it.
So you're asking me what's the difference between that and doing a superhero movie? To me, it's the same. It's all about characters that define. They live in a world, and this world has to fit the character, and vice versa. I think one of the things I've always tried to do is to keep working on character and creatures as well as the sets for one reason, because I think they belong to the same thing, and it makes sense. There's a logic in the design, and that's why I'm always interested in projects that brings those creatures or characters. In the case of Batman, Superman, or all the characters that go around, I always have a little pass at it, and we look at it with Zach. It's not my job to necessarily design the creature, but bring some ideas on the table, and that's super important for me. I don't think I want to do films that don't have characters and creatures and things like that. This is kind of what I do. It makes the sets also very organic. You think more organically than super, like I said, in this case, we have some very bold building. This was the Batman that Zach created. But overall, I like to bring organic into the world of the design, my design, and that's why creature fits the same way. You design the same way, you design character, you design sets. It's not that far off to me. They all blend together at the end.
Yeah, because think about the difference between sort of the sort of hard reality of the Batcave and then the super organic sort of deconstructed Wayne Manor that's like, crumbling above him, and the tomb and the overgrown like grounds, which are really not sharp and hard, but like really kind of soft and forgotten, and I think that sort of contrast is really.
Yeah, Zach is spilling all the beans today, man. I don't know what this means. It's very intriguing what he's talking about, though. Like, he doesn't want to spoil a lot of the story just in case. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
The first design is always a sketch that comes out of nowhere. It's not like looking at other cars to start designing. We do the first thing, always a small, the Batmobile, I keep saying this, but the first time I met you and I went directly to a Starbucks and started to sketch the Batmobile, the first thing I did, because I felt this is where everything was for me in my world of design, is that to create.
You went to Starbucks and did that?
I did. That's the closest. I was so anxious. That was the first place I could see.
It was the only place open.
Yeah. So
I picture you like
I wanted
in the
to go to
south
a
of
bar.
France with like a fine wine, and like you're in Starbucks.
Burbank studio, man.
I went to Provence and I.
Yeah, so
Seriously, that's the best thing I've heard.
No, it's Starbucks, unfortunately.
But that's the way it is. Yes. So that's it. That's the
Wow.
answer.
Terrific question. Terrific question. All right, this is unfortunately going to be our last question for the day, and I'm going to go to that person right there in the middle in the white shirt with their hand up raised. Yes, that's you, right? Yeah, don't turn around. You stand up, and a mic will come to you.
So it's kind of like a Snyderverse like related question, but like I
What
saw
is
watching
he
it, I loved
saying?
it.
Like,
Casting's
this dude
perfect.
just
casting for Justice League
needs to
Batman Superman
not
perfect.
ever do this again.
Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Doomsday Clock.
It's
but,
like
I was
ordering
wondering
people
if that was,
stand
like,
up
your
and a mic will
vision,
come to
or,
you.
like,
Like,
what you think
I
of it,
don't know.
was
You're
that
not
ever gonna,
talking
like, come to
too
fruition
well
in
to
the
the
future?
to the audience, man.
Which one was Doomsday Clock?
It was like the crossover with Watchmen characters.
Yeah,
and,
was
like,
that the
DC.
Jeff Johns
Yeah, Jeff
comic?
Johns. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
DJ. King Kong ain't got shit on me. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Like
We
I
don't
said,
talk about that
like I
guy.
said, probably not.
Wow.
We should end on a more positive.
I felt all right.
A quick one.
I
quick
felt all
one.
right.
A
We
quick
should have
one.
just gone to the lobby. That
A
would've
quick
been
one right
perfect.
here. A quick one. A quick positive one.
It's been said your work print of BBS was another hour longer. What is a sequence or something that you have?
Okay, yeah, we were talking about it. I think I talked about it a little on the live stream. There's a scene, and we shot it. I can't even barely remember it. It's the scene where, remember where Clark went down to the the room below, the apartment below, to fix the leak in the ceiling from them spilling the water out of the bathtub.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and like and it was Bukowski. It was Misha. We called her Mrs. Bukowski because she lived below, and she was like always banging her like her broom on the roof. It'd be like, "Hey, what's going on up there? You guys are making a lot of noise."
That was an hour. This whole little scene was an hour.
No, it wasn't an hour. Well, it was like a lot of shooting. I remember. I was like, yeah. So there was Bukowski, the nosy neighbor who lived below the, Lois and Clark, who was angry that the water kept spilling out of the tub every night. Wah, wah. coming into their bedroom or whatever. No, into their bathroom. Yeah.
That's right.
So.
All right, we have to wrap there because Zach is gonna be signing. But we got to see Batman.
She turned out to be a superhero too. No, I'm just kidding. She wasn't.
Dawn of Bukowski.
She was nobody.
We want to thank everyone for coming out to watch Batman vs. Superman Ultimate
you guys.
Edition. Your panel was Zack Snyder, Damon Caro, DJ Jardine, and Patrick Tatopoulos. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And thank you on Vero for watching us as well, too.
Okay,
you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, wait 1 minute. Sit in your
Debbie
seats. Okay, we are going to do our drawing,
raffle.
and also we're going to make room for the signing. So you're going to give us a moment.
Thank you, Debbie.
Just a moment.
Raffle.
Okay, but raffle. We're going to go
No, no
up
one's
and
getting
get
this.
ready
No
for
one's
you
getting
guys,
that.
and Wes is
This
going
is
to do
mine.
the raffle.
That's the hand-painted one too, like the first one. Yeah.
That Trinity is dope, man.
That thing's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting a picture. Wait, what about the raffle?
I'm going to do the raffle, but you guys are going to go set up. Because you guys have more stuff to do. And you guys can go with them for the signing. Okay. Next year? So we're going to start with this one. So get your blue tickets out.
Ooh, those shits look nice.
And winner number 1 is 102794.
I think this might be it. They might stop the live stream soon. So
Leave that there. Or is it you?
see how much footage we get. I mean, the Q&A is already done for, so we ain't gonna see anything crazy unless Gal Gadot comes or Gal Gadot comes out. Surprisingly. Damn, I wanted to see her. I thought she was gonna be part of the Q&A panel, man. A little disappointed about that one, but I like the information that we got, man. He was being like real mysterious on his stuff, like giving you a little bit, but not letting it all out for a reason, man. They gotta be a reason. Gotta be a reason. Damn, if he's able to continue, that'd be crazy, man. Really would like that to go down.
102953. And last but not least, one more of the signed soundtracks. Try not to break the wettest statues. 102775. Awesome. All right, so just a couple quick announcements, and then we'll get you guys out there. So if you guys all don't mind going out this door, because we've kind of sort of set up along that way,
there's stanchions in the hallway. So the closest side, if we can start lining up there, and then it's going to loop around, and then we're going to take you guys out the door so you're not wrapped all the way through the building there. And then my only thing is we've got, an hour or so to do this. So feel free to say hello to Zach, get something signed, but also just keep in mind we're going to try and get everybody through. So if we can just keep it moving, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.